It started like any other summer morning, but within hours, entire neighborhoods vanished underwater. Streets turned to rivers, cars floated like paper boats, and families found themselves trapped inside their own homes. The Texas Hill Country, known for its beauty, has now become the face of one of the deadliest flash floods in the state's recent history. If you want real-time updates, verified facts, and in-depth global coverage like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel right now. We're here to keep you informed, alert, and ahead of the headlines. In the early hours of July 5, 2025, a deadly combination of atmospheric moisture and stalled thunderstorms dumped an extraordinary amount of rain over central Texas. In places like Kerrville, Llano, and Junction, reports indicate more than 10 inches of rainfall within a few short hours. The result was swift and unforgiving, devastating flash floods that have already claimed at least 24 lives, with dozens more still missing. Local emergency responders described scenes straight out of a disaster movie. Entire bridges were ripped from their foundations. Roads were carved away like butter. Rescue helicopters circled above as panicked 911 calls flooded dispatch lines. In one chilling case, a school bus was caught in rising waters with children on board, fortunately rescued just in time. But not all were so lucky. According to local authorities, the Guadalupe River rose to historic levels in less than 6 hours. Areas that had never seen floodwaters before were suddenly submerged under several feet of fast-moving water. Towns like Fredericksburg and Bernie saw water levels rise so rapidly that even residents who had lived there for decades were caught off guard. One survivor told reporters, "It felt like the water just appeared out of nowhere. We had no time to grab anything." The National Weather Service has since confirmed that the storm system responsible was intensified by an unusual low-pressure trough that stalled over Texas. Combined with already saturated ground from previous storms earlier in the week, it created the perfect storm, quite literally. At the heart of the chaos is the lack of preparation. Many residents had no flood insurance. Warning systems were overwhelmed, and in some rural areas, sirens didn't go off at all. Rescue efforts have been made even more complicated by damaged cell towers and power outages that have left entire regions cut off from the rest of the state. The Texas National Guard has now been deployed to assist with rescue and recovery. Boats, amphibious vehicles, and air support units are working around the clock to reach remote communities still waiting for aid. In total, over 300 people have been rescued so far, with hundreds more housed in temporary shelters set up in school gymnasiums, churches, and community centers. In Washington, the White House has acknowledged the emergency, offering FEMA support and calling the flood a climate-linked catastrophe that shows the urgent need for investment in resilient infrastructure. Federal funds have been approved for immediate disaster relief, but rebuilding is expected to take months, if not years. Beyond the loss of life and property, the emotional toll is staggering. Families have been separated. Homes are destroyed. Pets lost. Lifelong possessions gone in a matter of minutes. Social media is filled with pleas for help, missing person alerts, and photos of streets that now look like rivers. As we speak, weather alerts are still active. More rainfall is expected over the next 48 hours, and already saturated ground may not be able to absorb it. Emergency officials continue to urge residents in low-lying areas to evacuate now if they haven't already. Meanwhile, climate scientists are calling this disaster another sign of a troubling trend. With rising global temperatures, weather patterns are becoming increasingly erratic, and regions like central Texas, once considered safe from large-scale flooding, are now at serious risk. July is usually hot and dry in this part of the U.S., but in 2025, it has brought tragedy. We've also seen incredible acts of heroism. A retired Marine saved a neighbor's family by swimming into their flooded home with nothing but a rope and inner tube. Volunteers from surrounding counties have shown up in hundreds, bringing food, blankets, and first aid kits. One shelter worker said, "This is the worst disaster I've ever seen. But I've also never seen this much kindness." Media coverage continues to pour in, with global outlets focusing on the scale of destruction. But many local voices are pleading, "Don't just report, help." Donation drives have started. NGOs are calling for bottled water, sanitary supplies, and fuel. Every bit helps. If you're watching this from outside Texas, you may think this is far away. But these disasters are becoming everyone's problem, because the planet is changing fast. If this can happen in a place like Texas Hill Country, it can happen anywhere. As the waters begin to recede, the heartbreaking task of recovery begins. Bodies will be found. Homes will be condemned. But alongside the heartbreak, there is hope, in the strength of communities, in the courage of first responders, and in the determination of people who will rebuild. We'll continue to bring you updates as this story unfolds. Our thoughts are with the families affected, the brave responders risking their lives, and the countless volunteers stepping up when it matters most. For verified updates, real-time weather alerts, and in-depth analysis from the front lines of natural disasters, hit that subscribe button now. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe.